Okay, Jeff with Final Boss. We're doing a quick edit tonight on a children's book, which I'm really excited to read. One of my very good friends is producing this, or I don't know, like publishing it, something like that. So it's a children's book, so it's going to be having art notes and things like that. So it's a little bit of a different read than we're normally used to, but looking forward to reading it because it talks about emotional health and stuff for kids, or at least kind of gives them the tools to identify these things. Um, okay, so this may be old data because now in the days of digital publishing, this might be different. But I did take a children's book writing course many, many, many years ago. Um, and one of the things they said, which I'm kind of noticing here, is like there's kind of set number of pages because printing and the expenses of printing, where it's usually in sets of 8. And usually the pagination was very important. I can see if I can find an example. It's under box. Am I totally making this up? I'm probably totally making this up. Where is it? Semester something? Oh, there we go. Yeah, daydreaming. There we go. Yes. So having like the page numbers. Yeah, so like 24. Yeah, it was sets of 8, I believe. Yeah, because they take 4 pages, fold them, put a staple in them, put them together. Yes, I think it was sets of 8. And let me see if I can full screen this so you guys can actually see. This is an old children's book I wrote for that course. Whoa, it's a little too big. Okay, let me see if I can get a full screen here. That will actually demonstrate how I was taught to do it by someone who's in the industry. That could be totally different now, but I feel like it's just good to see, and then you can ignore me if it's not something helpful. All right, add existing. There we go. Yes. Um, so yeah, so this is kind of like a daydreaming story about Secret Life. Too loud? Okay, yeah. Sorry. So this is a daydreaming story. The poor Foxy lady's going to bed a little early tonight. But yeah, pretty much you have the page 1, page 2 through 3, and it kind of like the layout actually matters a lot. Page 4 to 5, page 6, 7, 8, yeah, so forth. So it actually matters a good bit. So I don't know. I mean, you're working with the publisher who's awesome. So I don't know if that's going to matter at all in this particular case. But for those who are watching and who do want to do children's books, I can just kind of review again what I was kind of told. Let me find one that's an example. So yes, this is page 6. You have the text that's going to be on the page, and then in italics you have the art note, and you kind of mark it by saying art note, uh, and go from there. So yeah, art note, single page, medium shot. So you kind of give those directions. Taylor's in the same room. Mid follow through position, he was in the previous page. However, he is back in the classroom. Everyone's eyes are wide with shock. His expression is still one of victory. So like we're kind of describing the picture in a lot of detail, and we're telling the shot as well, like medium shot, long shot, straight on shot, um, or spread art. So this is art note spread art, which is going to be like the page spread for pages 4 and 5, and then the narrative would get broken up. So those are just some helpful, I think, things that help me kind of get a handle on how to write it. I don't know if I mean obviously it's a different situation, something that I'm sure the writer and Naomi will want to work out, but that was helpful for me. That was very helpful for me when I was studying children's book writing. Okay, so anyways, that kind of random rant is over. But yeah, we're missing a lot of that stuff here. It's just kind of the art notes. I don't know what kind of shot this is. I don't know what page. How are these going to get spaced out? Because this is only minimalistic words. This is a baby's book. So I wonder if we could get a better sense of pacing with some of those cues. Versus, full face sprint versus close up versus medium, and with a book like this, it might be helpful to outline, to paginate, to give a better sense of pace. So yeah, I think those are the things. It's just like, obviously with just the art notes and the dialogue, are is this one page? Is this a full 2-page spread? Do I turn the page to get to the emotions on the other side? Those are questions I feel like I would be asking. Or is it like, the page spread on one side, the emotions on the other? I think those are the things I'm kind of wondering. Okay. Anyway, Sora the Turtle makes up in the morning with a thought bubble. Oops. Yeah, especially if you're delivering this to an artist. I always, oops, I should put it on editing, huh? I should put it on suggesting with a thought bubble. It's my birthday. Excited. Antsy. Ants crawling around. So again, is it crawling around the words? The letters of Antsy. I just want to have these art notes. In this case, you're working with a publisher, so it might not be necessary, but I feel like of the art notes could help a lot. Add detail. This is the place to be expansive with your writing. Yeah, I think the art notes just give you so much more opportunity to explain the book, especially if you're not the artist. That's kind of your shot, I think, at really giving us the vision and like the feel of it, because the visuals are going to communicate the feel. But right now, I kind of am just getting these bolded words. And I really think I would paginate. It's hard to know what the pacing is. Like, is this a page 1? Is this a page 2? It's just getting it's a little blurred, and maybe like you've already discussed that, but food for thought. It's my birthday. Excited, antsy. Oh, disappointed, annoyed, irritated, grumpy, stewing. Okay, so why do we have 2 options here? 2 good options, right? And then 5 bad options. I wonder about that. I'm assuming these are like pages. I don't really know. Why are there only 2, excited emotions, but so many negative emotions? Feel like this is pushing. I feel like the good emotions might deserve as much screen time. As the less enjoyable ones. Yeah. So Ollie is busy doing something, doesn't look up. So are these like pages? Annoyed, irritated. Okay. Oh, Shuckers passed by. Okay, so I think this must be pages. So then this is like another page break. I'm just gonna try to put this in because I'm trying to grok exactly. Oh, going disappointed. Oh, disappointed. All these businesses look up. No, I think it's like this. Hold on. I think this is the page break. Oh, disappointed. And then is there another page break here? Annoyed, irritated. Each art note symbolizes. So again, this is how you know. I'm sure if you commission an artist, you'll have the chance to explain it over the phone. But the one thing that will benefit you the most, I think, as a writer, is to have it all locked in with precision. How many pages do you have? Especially in a children's book, that's really important because that will influence your printing costs. So knowing all these questions, or knowing all these answers, I'm going to grab a glass of water while I talk. Knowing all these answers while you're plotting could really, really be beneficial. It could give you just a leg up in terms of getting this thing to where you just have this precise vision and it gets exactly realized by the artist. Because one of the things is if you go into discussions with an artist and you're not 100% sure what you're looking for, you're not necessarily going to find exactly what you want, or it's just going to take a lot more replication. So let's say the artist draws anger in a way you don't want. You're going to have to explain all this stuff, like show don't tell, like brow furrowed, what, because that's the key to this story, right? Is it's showing characters experiencing emotions so that the child can understand how to experience and process emotions. But no acknowledgement. Oh, you know, um, what's the Soren scowls and folds, um, bends his head, staring at his toes with a glum expression. Show me what the kids will have to interpret. Um, show me Soren's expressions in the art notes so I can grasp what visual cues the child will be connecting with the resulting emotions. Yeah. So I think that's just it's a tricky thing, right? There's no easy way to do that. I think any writer you talk to, they're always trying to figure out how to represent emotion. But I think this time particularly, I would give it extra time. Like, oh, disappointed. What does disappointed look like? How is a child? Like, that's the thing. Does he sit on a chair with his arms to his side? This is as funny as it sounds, it's a classic case of show don't tell. We really need to get a sense, I feel like, as a reader and probably as the artist, you're trying to instruct the child that these visual cues mean disappointment. That if I'm slumping in my chair and my head's down, I'm disappointed. Or if I have tears in my eyes, I'm sad. So I need to see those cues in Soren. Ollie's busy doing something. Soren. A tear forms in we have annoyed, irritated, so annoyed, irritated. Soren clenches his fists and scowls at Ollie, whose back is turned. I don't know why the periods are on the outside here. Is those necessary? No, I don't think those are necessary. Or just be consistent. Maybe it's all on the inside. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just nitpicky. That doesn't matter. This is, because it's already getting published or, work to get published. But I do want to see what are the visual cues. Another example. What the child will have to interpret in Soren's expression. of needing to see. Yeah. Okay. Foxy, jump outside, jumping up and down, trying to see something, preoccupied. Grumpy, stewing. Um, is this the text is inscribed on a bowl of soup boiling. On a bowl of boiling soup. Sorry. Just I'm a little bit of a grammar Nazi, so you can forgive those. I know that doesn't matter that much in the art notes, but Big Soren's face that is red with a bit. There we go. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Maybe this is a close-up. Big slash of lightning. Does he have a lightning scar? Or is there lightning behind him, framing his angered expression? Clarify? I didn't spell clarify right. I know, I'm guilty. But I'm not gonna go back and change it, because okay, I'm a grammar Nazi. I'm gonna go back and change it. There, fine. Guilty. Alright, anyways. Thunder. Sees hidden corner behind couch. That looks like for me? Again, I kind of wonder if, medium shop. The lightning framing Soren fades as he glances at a couch, at something behind. Something that looks like gift and balloons. So you can build tension in the art notes, something behind the couch, something that looks like gift and balloons. That's not grammatically correct, but stylistically it can help you to use fragments, stuff like that, to build up the art shot. So I would really, really focus in on those art notes. I feel like that's breaking a lot of how, because the goal of this document, right, it's a blueprint. So your goal in a blueprint document like this, and it's very similar to screenplay writing, is to make sure that what you're visualizing is identical to what the reader visualizes. So the fact that I'm kind of guessing at what page this is, how this works, it's a little harder. I'm happy to send you, if Naomi or you want to. I mean, it's a story I wrote years and years ago, but like the one about the one that has at least just the outline of how to structure a small storybook. That might be helpful because I feel like, I kind of wish I had just a few more details. For me, hopeful. Get closer. Maybe? Again, I want some more details. I want some more. How does Soren get closer, show the anticipation in the art. Does he tiptoe forward, rubbing his hands together? A lot of, these quirks of how Soren individually deals with emotions and shows emotions will make him a more realistic character. So yeah, if we can actually, because how Soren deals with the emotions and how Soren, when he's angry, does he, clench his fist? Does he point his finger at his friends? That'll give us a lot of information about Soren's character, and that's really where kids are really, really bright. They'll intuit, oh, this guy's kind of a confrontational person. Is Soren confrontational? Looks like he's been a little bit more passive. He's more of a passive elephant, I believe. Turtle. But what I want to see his turtleness coming in. Does he curl into his shell? That's another thing too, is you're making your character an animal, but we're not really getting the emotions through that turtle lens. You like, so you want to use all the things you set up. What's more, Soren is a turtle. Why, show me how a turtle will act out his emotions. When he's scared, shy, does he go into his shell? Those are the types of things I just like. Those cues I think matter, at least as I've, and I kind of do more novel writing now, different genres, but as I've gotten more invested in that side of things, I usually find that like those cues, the specific details of how a character is managing emotion is the heart of the work. And if you're able to express that early in the drafting process, you haven't talked to the artist yet, great. You're still kind of ironing things out. Fantastic, because this is the time to figure that out, to solve and unlock how Soren, a turtle, is, silly as it sounds, is reacting and dealing with emotions. That's all stories are about in many, many ways, is how we all encounter emotions. So I would really zero in on that, because you don't have much text. It's all going to rely on the art. It's all going to rely on the create. And you have to, the artist isn't going to think that up. You have to think up ways of saying, oh, well, maybe when Soren's shy, he like pulls into his turtle shell. Or how does he show anger? Does he clench his fins? Like, I don't know. Does he have little fists? Is he standing? Is he kind of more anthropomorphic? I don't know. So I think those are the questions you have to answer, to really have that, like, you know, to put your best foot forward when you're, as soon as possible, like early in the drafting. This is the perfect time to go back and say, okay, how am I going to really just blow these notes out, make them really detailed, just figure out the character and the world as much as I can. Maybe Hidden Corner is actually something else. Big Bear is moving something mundane. Crushed. Garlic presser. But what is this something mundane? But what is this? Yeah. Again, a need for specificity and detail. Why not just, say, the balloons turn out to be, you know, um, red, I don't know, red wheels for a moving cart carrying chairs, So show me the mundane. Don't tell me. Because, you know, how is the child gonna understand? Like, you can't write it's mundane. So you have to show me how a child is gonna get mundane out of the, you know, show me the one. Don't tell me mundane. How, describe a picture, describe a scene where mundane is the only conclusion. So yeah, expressing that through um, the scene, expressing it through the visual, it's going to be really critical, because remember, that's all you have. Big Bear is moving something mundane. There's one of two people that's going to come up with what that is. It's going to be you or the artist, right? And the more you have to give to the artist to interpret, the less this work is going to be yours, the less when you get it back, because we're writers, we're perfectionists. When we get something back from somebody else, and they've let's say you envisioned it was like a bedpost. I envisioned it was a red wheelbarrow. If I'm the artist and I draw a red wheelbarrow, guess what? You're going to have to pay a bunch more money to get it turned into a bedpost, whatever it is. So remember, be specific. Lock it in. Lock it in with details. Details are, I think, so critical. Crushed garlic presser, forgotten. Yes, yes, yes. I like the architecture of this. Um, I do love the, emotion, the event slash emotion architecture of this piece. Again, we're kind of getting, we're getting different amounts. Getting different, numbers of emotion per event. Some happy ones get 2, some sad ones get 2 to 4 emotions. Perhaps stick with a consistent number. I'd say 3, is usually the, strongest choice for kids. Like 3 is a pretty consistently balanced number. Like it feels like it's long enough to kind of have some variation, and you can do surprises. I think one thing is like, this is for very young kids, so maybe not, but like, maybe, maybe one of the emotions listed isn't, the right conclusion. So saying like, oh, like, is he happy? Why not list happy here? So the parent can explain that the frown means, Soren is disappointed. A lot of kids probably might have trouble figuring that out. Like, you talk to some kids and like it's not always computing. Like, like they're acting and behaving in the way they want to act and behave, and they take a toy from another kid and that other kid's crying and they're like, cool, I got the toy, see you later, other crying kid. But it's sort of like, no, like when someone's making that crying face, that means they're sad, not happy, not hopeful. So maybe giving some like answers where if a parent is reading this book to their kid and the kid says, oh, he's happy even though Soren is crying, that might give them an opportunity to say, hey, look, I know you might think that, you might feel that's the way, but it looks like Soren's actually crying. It looks like he might be sad. Or, hey, why do you think he's happy? He's sitting on the floor crying. When you're sitting on the floor crying, how do you feel? What are you feeling? Those are the types of things that might be good opportunities to kind of try or just to consider. Obviously, this is your book, your vision, but go with whatever I think you want. And that kind of goes back to my the more concrete details you can put in, the less random ideas can creep in beneath the woodworks. Big sign reads, surprise Soren with only sinkers. Really? For me? Relief, joy, cake. Everyone yells excitedly. Celebration, warm, loved. Good emotions to finish on. I like the arc. I like the arc and the story. Um, Good emotion to finish on. Great arc to the story. All right. Um, Again, I think I just want, so my overall is going to be, um, I think structure. Here, I'll just accept this, show me the page numbers slash, medium, close up shots, etc. Detail, describe, spend extra time on the art notes. Make sure someone else imagining, So you do it really well with the really eyes wide and surprised. That's exactly what you're trying to do, but we need to get it in other stuff. Make sure someone imagining mundane will have the same image. In that case, just describe something mundane. What was the last thing? I think the arc is good. Love the arc and the concept. Oh yeah, and character. I want to see how a turtle expresses, nervousness or shame or whatever. Soren's reactions have no non-human cues. So, why make him a turtle if he'll react in 100% human ways? Why doesn't he recoil into his shell when nervous, etc.? And same with the other characters, and doing things that bears do, etc. Not a huge note, but I think it's something that can just add richness, just adding a little bit more. Okay, link, shame, exposure of a physical character you don't like. Other friends and animals pointing. Soren has freckles. Turtle and have freckles. That's weird. So, great. So I feel like we're starting in the negative. I wonder. This doesn't feel to have the same flow, right? Because the way you normally want any story to flow is you start from a neutral place. Things get a little bit worse, or sorry, things get, you start from a broken place. You try to make things better. Things get a whole lot worse, and then you come back to a new neutral. So it's sort of like a zigzag. You start kind of in a mediocre place. You get a little bit better. You get a whole lot worse, and then you get back to like the neutral, the little bit above neutral, hopefully. So I feel like this starts in a really fast negative note. Because shame is like as dark as it's one of the things, like if you ever read that book, The Soul of Shame, that they passed around reality for a while. It's one of like kind of the emotions that's powering a lot of other negative. Like it's a layer beneath the normal negative, like sadness, anxiety. Gosh, all those things are powered by shame. In many senses. So having that kind of coming in first feels like we have to get through a few layers. This seems like a level 2 emotion. Something that underlies anxiety or something else. Also, this is starting on a really harsh emotional note. Why not, something more neutral to warm up book 2? Because remember, I mean, maybe someone buys book 2, but they haven't gotten book 1. That could be pretty, pretty surprising. Where like the first page is like shame, all the things. Shame, exposure of a physical characteristic you dislike. Ha ha. Turtles don't have freckles. Pain in the stomach. Embarrassed. Self-conscious. Ashamed. Is something wrong with me? Slump posture. Hides in shell. Okay, great. So yes, so we have the hides in shell here. So I love this. Why isn't this in book 1? Love this. Bring these cues to book 1. Show me where they'll appear by writing them in the art notes. I'm known to beat dead horses and to kind of, repeat and say the same thing over again. So I apologize if I'm kind of saying the same note too often. But again, I'm not really sure how this gets laid out on the page. I'm just gonna go like this. No idea how this, not certain how this would look on the page. Why are the art notes not describing the layout or even an overall image, you know, where, you know, the numbered lists appear. Get kind of sleepy. All right. Happy, receiving esteem, respect, or praise. Is it receiving esteem? I think that may be proud. I don't actually, just as a general reader, I don't know if happy means receiving esteem. Does happy mean? I think it's more of a state of being, not a state of receiving. Also, you know, esteem is a pretty advanced word. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. I'm going to read Naomi's description again, just to make sure I'm not misinterpreting. And I'm gonna. All right, let's see. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right. Okay, the reader links child's past emotional experience with the story. Readers explore a variety of feelings by getting snapshots of Soren. The forest lights. Soren and his friends set out to find more of what they heard, called the forest lights, and go on an adventure. In action comic strip format. Again, so like these notes that I'm receiving from that I'm receiving on these emails, I really feel like they should be you know, this for child readers. Yeah, Steam is a pretty advanced word. I also think you need to have like the art note of just like there. Just gonna go ahead and say yes. But again, describe how this comic book looks. Like, shame appears in a big heading. You know, I'll do it for maybe the next one after. I'll do it for envy. I'll do a more detailed example. I'm a little sleepy because I'm kind of burning the midnight oil here, but I'll try to. I do want to give this. It's just desserts. Is anybody stopping by? No. All right. Okay. Happy, receiving stinky school teacher in front of class. Skunkers, you worked so hard to earn the stinkiest foo award. Congratulations. Stunkers. I feel like that's a very you're going against the tropes in terms of making somebody stinky as a good thing, but I think it might confuse your readers a little bit. I like that you're going against tropes to make stinky good, but this might confuse readers who've been trained to see the opposite. But I like that we're getting animal specific. Sunkers, flushed and happy. Hooray, jumping down. Silliness. Alright, I'm also beginning to think that these need a frame. Oh, okay, there's a lot of them. Great. Alright. I do feel like these need a frame. Whether it's like Soren at school, and there's like different school situations, you know, or a day with Soren. I'll do overall. I'm gonna just jump the gun. I feel like these, you know, comic book moments need a frame. You know, is this a day with Soren? You know, or like the first time when he gets the shame, he's getting bullied on his way into school, and like you can show the progression of the day. How do you link these together? I think the simplest way to think of them is like a short story collection. You know, a lot of modern writers will do these short story collections with different stories on different subjects, but they all have, if they're in the same book, they should have a similar theme. Um, you know, you know, or school. How do these fit as a whole? Because again, like the reader is going to want to see progression. You, as the writer, may say, "Oh, well, this is just instruction. It's fine." But even then, the reader will want to see the progression. Reader will want some overall progression. All right. I also know a really kind lady at Disney who does some work. She's like the children's book writer for Disney. She's a child like she's a wow, that was weird. Froze, fully froze. It even froze my camera, which is even stranger. I don't know how my headphone froze my camera, but I'm beginning to grow more um, irked with these headphones more than ever. Anyways, okay. All right, so we have happy twice. What? Love, sadness, shame, sadness, happy again. Oh, I get it. It's kind of. I feel like having the same emotion twice feels kind of off-putting. I know it kind of makes sense in context reading it. Um, you know, I understand, but it feels repetitious. Especially since these are, not next to each other. Um, again, the language is so advanced. Having emotions slash experiences that have been invalidated, maybe where we feel invalidated. Um, that have been invalidated. Like you got an emotion and it was told as not true. Ouch! Wow! Big Bear gets stung by bees. He's grabbing some honey lavender cookie recipe in his pocket. Nice. I like that detail. That's good detailing. Good detailing here. I'm gonna write that in. Yeah, make the art notes long. There's nobody else gonna. It's not gonna hurt anybody's feelings. Stunker's flesh and happy, jolly, hooray, bouncy, silliness. Woo! Wow, so stinky. All his friends saying, "Oh," covering their faces. the, this feels. Just rephrase. Phrase. This just reads a little odd. I can't really put my finger on why that just reads a little odd, but just like, wow, so stinky. It just seems like a. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Yeah, it just doesn't fit for some reason. I don't know why. Can't put my finger on it. Envy. The others get something you really want and you don't get it. Foxy's best. So again, we're at a very simple register of language here. Um, so this is very, basic language, but some intros feel written for adults. All right, let me see how I'm doing here. I'll go a little faster. You have a long time with someone enjoy their company, someone the turtle, loved, relaxed. Ready to give things to a person. You can have my last lavender cookie. Great callback. Like, uh, yeah, is it a call forward? But yeah, so we have, the talk about the honey lavender cookie, but then it's actually happens here. So I would really, really, I think these need organization. They need to get ordered. They need to get moved around. Yeah. Um, feel like the ordering um, didn't make sense. You know, could do with rearranging, i.e., giving away honey lavender cookie for, getting the honey for it. Um, all right. I must be a bad bear. Giving side eye. That's a very it's a very accurate and modern phrase. Losing something or someone you love. Soren in tears to parents. We can't leave without Steggy. Like, is it like, so that's the thing, like with anthropomorphic things, is Steggy his brother? That would be pretty that'd be pretty crazy. Gnarly if his folks, weren't looking for his brother, or is it a stuffed animal? If option 2, then we need to describe that in the art note and show it, lying on the ground, out of view, in a medium shot. Yeah. If it's his little brother, that's a problem. That's child abuse, or I don't know what. Turtle abuse. Science fair completion. Little critters, large critters. Hooray! #1 award. Yay! So this seems like almost the same emotional beat, right? Someone winning an award. So I actually think this duplicate happy is 100% a duplicate. I think this happy moment is 100% duplicative because it's the same plot beat. Character winning an award. I'd delete the previous and go with this one. Cause the stinky award was confusing. Was not as clear, as much of a clear positive. And the visuals, here, this one are way cooler. Yeah. Anger, having an important goal blocked. Annoyed, angry. Where is this going? Is this in the art note? Is this narrative? Is this in the art note? I.e., should this be italicized? Oh man, I cannot spell italicized, but you know what I'm saying. Initialized? No. Italicized. There we go. So yeah. Again, I want some clarity there. I'm gonna put on my glasses. I'm kind of squinting because I'm having trouble seeing here. A little bit better. All right. So getting a little curious. Is this? Yeah. So great descriptions here. Face gets hot. Roar. Pops this way, duck. Or I don't know. I don't know how. We haven't had that really. There's not been narrative. I'm sorry, Soren. Yeah, I feel like the art notes are starting to get blended because first we don't have any narrative. Yeah, so again, in the above, we don't have any non-dialogue narrative, narrative description action. But we're starting to get some here. I'd go 100%. I'd go one way or the other from the beginning. A change like this mid-book will be jarring to the reader. Alright. Anger. Having an important goal blocked. Yeah. You spend a lot of time with the person and have fun. Cook's favorite foods. Content at peace, feeling warm, trusting, calm, loved. Yay. Wonder. Welcome to the arugula forest. Beware the mysterious light seen at night. Yeah, I think these could all be a story. Like, this could be like a day. Like, this is all stuff that's happening at school. Like, you could wake up in the morning, get bullied, um, win the science fair, go home, get lunch, have something happen at lunch, go home, and go to a camping trip that night, or a day in the life of Soren. This could all be a day in the life of Soren, or so I really think that's necessary. I think just clarity. I do a really big clarity pass. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna keep cranking because I want to make sure that I get to all of this. Okay, so now we are having pagination. Not really though. And is this gonna be a chapter book or is there gonna be art? All right, I'm seeing art notes. Okay, so again, I would really, really, really lean towards the demonstration earlier because it's so much easier to read. And I did have to read a few of those for that class. So knowing, because there's a fixed number of pages. If you're getting these printed through a manufacturer, you'll probably want page 1 is going to be a half page, page 2 and 3 are going to be like a full spread, and then the last page will be another half page. So you got to outline all that. You got to think through all those angles. And I think before first page. So where is this? Is this the title page? Is this title page? The P1 before the page 2 to 3 spread. I'd read a few, outlines, scripts for children's books, and do a revision using the format, and I can get you some format they use, and I can get you some if you need, from my friend that works Publishing. So let me know. I can try to do that. I haven't talked to them in a little bit, but I will give them a call. Today, Soren the Turtle and his friends are off to explore. The arugula forest is deeply wooded and lies at the edge of town. Some have seen lights late into the night. Cool. Again, I wonder if this could get moved. Because we're getting verbal doubling. I'm just gonna cut it, and then I'm gonna show you what I mean. So cut the rule first. Doing this. And Soren and his friends won't believe the rumors till they see it. See the lights. That's kind of a bad example because I'm still doing verbal doubling, but yeah, it is what it is. I'll find another example because I'm like, oh yeah, I actually kind of did the same thing. Anyways, I'm gonna grab a little bit more water and I'll be right back. My cat is just a useless hunk of. I'm kind of giving my cat a hard time because he's just sitting back there, being obese. Okay. I'm not going. So is this the first page? Okay, so we're starting in media res. That's great. Oh, my cat wants to join me now. You guys can see this beast. Come on, Bubba. Come on. Yes, look at this lord of a cat. She's my little baby. And she's fat. She's a very fat cat. But she's a good kitty. Obese as she is. Alright. Foxy waves bye to his friends. Then skips towards home. Big Bear puffs out his chest and goes, "There's no monster. Even if I was there, even if there was, I would protect you." Yeah. Don't know. Do we need all this? You know. We need all this from the other cat. No licking. Just sit down. Characters. If Foxy is leaving, why do we need her to have a full page? We have so little time. Let's spend it, hearing, the main characters. Like, is Soren scared of monsters? So that's the thing, because we're hearing about Foxy, the Foxy fox, and we have a whole page dedicated to her talking about, oh, I'm scared of the big monster. and I'm leaving. But once she leaves, you're kind of like, okay, well, we just spent a page. You only have a couple of pages. These are children's books. They're not novels, unfortunately. So, like, as valuable real estate. Sorry, getting hungry. All right. That's valuable real estate being spent on a character that's not going to be with us for the rest of the story. It's kind of a risky move. Might be worth cutting. As they make their way around, they come to a bush and stream with rocks. Is Soren even here? Oh yeah, there's Soren. Everyone looks at Soren. His muscles tight and he gulps. Yeah, so we don't really get Soren until it's probably page 3 because these are children's book pages. I don't see the pagination. I really would recommend that. I'm kind of repetitive, I'm sure. Um, Is this going to be... So again, trying to figure out the difference between... I'm assuming this is going to have more narrative. Kind of like that example I showed where it had like sort of like a Magic School Bus book where it had art and it had like normal paragraphs. So I'm assuming this is going to have more narrative. The only problem that I'm noticing is that it's also very advanced language, and I don't know where you want to wind up in terms of the register of language you want to use. Look at this lard. This is my little lardy cat. Yeah, the register of language you want to use. So it seems like this is written for almost an adult audience in some time, or like at least a teenage audience, because there's some advanced words. So again, worth just should have stayed home, he whispers to himself. Flutters out of his mouth. So again, show don't tell. What does relief look like? Uh, so give us like a little bit more. He does a couple more times, and then let's look up to us. His friends cheer. Soren smiles with some embarrassment. Come on. Some embarrassment. What seemed to, why the embarrassment? Again, I'm not seeing too many emotions played out except in the middle section. But I'm not seeing a turtle emotion. You know, like I'm not seeing him act. Cat, you're just being an annoying cat. Stop. Just sit down. Let's see. Let's put this note here. Not seeing as many, put head and shell emotion cues for the turtle. His emotions seem more general human than turtle currently. Uh-oh, it's getting late. I'm gonna probably have to. I'm almost done. I might read a little bit faster. No, thank you, cat. Yeah, I'll go a little bit more expedited here. As they go deeper, the trees grow taller and thicker, covering the sky. Beneath an old tree, Big Bird discovers brown, wrinkly mushrooms, red colored by eating tiny berries. Again, what with what? The mushrooms? Yeah, push yourself to fill out those art notes. They should be paragraphs long for each page. So it sounds probably intimidating to be like, oh man, I need to write more. Come on, Jeff. Like, I just want to be done. But trust me, trust me, trust me. Fill out those art notes. Fill out those art notes. Fill out those art notes. It will be a boon. You will know your story better, even if maybe you cut them all out later and you don't use them. But just make it clean, organized, structured. You know, I'm gonna at the end of this, I'm gonna pull up that image of the children's book story and say, okay, like really, really, how do we represent it in a similar way? Getting this is the exact same thing. That other one was like a multiple page like mid grade book, the one that I wrote, and this one is exactly the same genre. So just copy the style. I mean, that was taught to me by a Disney executive that writes, children's books for Disney. Like she wrote the Frozen children's book, all these things. So, why reinvent the wheel? I just copied what they told me to do, and I would recommend because it's their formula, so it'll save hopefully some time. Use extra skunkers. Did you eat a bug? Crunch, crunch. Big Bear smiles mischievously. Suddenly hear a strange rustling. I like the humor here. No one's talked about the lights once. That's one kind of weird structure thing I feel like. We were told again, show don't tell. Show don't tell. None of the characters has speculated or talked about the lights once. The only mention we have of the lights is in the, before first page section. And, I skip prologues. you know, show us the goal. Reiterate the goal, the characters' goals through the story. You need to see those goals because we're just getting the obstacles, and I'm not really sure Why are they just going on a walk in the woods? Like, if I didn't have that like little mention in the first paragraph that they wanted to go see these magical lights, you'd be kind of like scratching your chin trying to figure out why we're just walking through the woods and eating mushrooms. The rustling shrubs move suddenly, and out jumps Foxy. Haha, you're all scared, he says. Soren feels relief, but laughs with confusion as he comes out of his shell. Okay, good. He's yay. More of this. Only flies down silence and avoids looking at Foxy. Bigger than Huffs and Puffs, glares at Foxy and lets out a roar. Sora and his friends fall for Foxy's trick. When I thought you were a snake, I felt afraid, but then I saw you. I was embarrassed and then hurt. Next time, please don't trick us. That way we can all play together. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. Alright, so remember with dialogue, we want to have line break. Um, Line break for new speaker. Man, these headphones, man. I'm not super happy with them. Okay, come on, Foxy, join us the rest of the way. Okay, we got another line here. Oops, too many. Alright, oopsie. Did I do that right? No, I did not. Alright, there we go. Again, this is very like... This is good dialogue, but it belies your writing for a really young audience with how explanatory it is. However, the action lines and stuff in your story, have advanced language. Do a, difficulty pass, edit on this to ensure you're at the reading you intend. Yeah, what is what is your goal age group? Right, sunsets, fog covers, lonely wind, don't hear from me at all. Look, the lights, he runs quickly. So yeah, this is the first we've heard of the lights. Need to bring that in sooner. When the others catch up, Soren holds a jar to see a few large mason jars filled with fireflies. Fireflies are caught. We should set them free. So were the forest lights jarred fireflies? The forest lights fireflies trapped in jars did not, live out there. Who put them in jars? Was there a purpose? isn't, don't know if, like, you know, you know, is it polite to go unscrew someone to go, mess someone else's stuff? This, this twist in the story feels a little confusing since the, moving lights wouldn't be fireflies. Might be fireflies, but not fireflies. Jars, since they'd not be moving that much. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I don't know. Big Roofed House says the Mama Turtle, Papa Bear, and everybody sighs with relief. Did the kids leave without permission? We, set up the fact that the parents don't know early in the story if this matters. Otherwise, why mention it? We just see the journey home and a firefly buzz past while Soren sits cozy on the couch. Suddenly hugs and hugs. The next firefight. Each finishes the bedtime story. Songbird feels warm. Big Bear feels valued. Foxy feels accepted. Ollie feels peaceful. I love you, they say, drifting off to sleep. Nice. Great. All right. Well, I think my last note, and I'm gonna be kind of like obnoxious, I guess. You guys can shake your head and be like, Jeff, we get it. But I would really, even just for like, do this for even if you were going to illustrate it yourself, even if you were going to draw your own story, it's never a bad idea to lock it down in text. You know what I mean? Like, let's just zoom that. There you go. So remember, we got to have the page numbers. So this is like the basic structure, right? Page number, the text that's going to be on the screen, art note notated and in italics. You got the italics. There's type of shot. Is it a single? It's a single page, so it's only page 6. This one is spread art, so it'll be over page 2 and 3. Some of them will still have separate single pages, I think. I don't remember. Oh yeah, continuation of spread, medium shot. So like all these things are really helpful. So like page 8 and 9. So first half of spread. Medium straight on shot. Taylor scissors their hands in the middle of the hallway. Art note, continuation spread. But look at these are paragraph long art notes. This is old. I'm noticing that this is an it's and it should be like this. So there you go. Nothing's perfect, right? No, this was like something I wrote a while back. But ignore my writing. This is writing I wrote when I was in college, right? But pay attention to the structure, because the structure it's given to me by someone who actually knew what they were talking about, and I think it's really really helpful. So yeah, I think it just helps just make it clear, simple, concise, clean. And I think that's one of the challenges. It's not like that it wasn't clear, but just understanding what your intention was sometimes hard to gather. You have this beautiful world, it's this great evoked world, but it was hard to gather, okay, what are you actually going for in this particular thing? I think those are some of the things that were hard to put together without details, some more showing, don't telling, but also just like really precise, just structural. Remember, this is a technical document first. It's not, you know, some of like the second part almost just feels like a short story. But remember, if you're gonna have an illustrator, if you're gonna break this out into a children's book, it needs to turn from a short story into a technical document where the pages are numbered out. You know how many, how much does printing cost? How many of these, because if you're gonna buy a couple hundred of these things and try to sell them, you're going to have to know about those things. So those would be things just to keep in mind. But anyways, great work. This was an awesome story. I am so inspired by the focus on mental, emotional awareness. I think that's awesome. I think it's so important today. So I definitely was excited to do this edit. I hope that it helps in your future revisions. And yeah, keep me posted as it goes along. And looking forward to seeing what awesome things arise in the final product. So take care, everybody. Have a great evening, and I'll see you all soon.